Hey, what is up, everybody? This is the Great Puckatini coming at you on behalf of PuckettFanShop.com. And I just want to welcome you back to my channel. In this video, we're going to be talking about the Dallas Cowboys and their recent decisions with some of their star players. In my opinion, there are some great moves and some not so great moves that they've made. So let's dive into it. All right, now, first up, let's talk about Ezekiel Elliott. Now, Dallas made a great decision by deciding to cut him, I believe, here on Tuesday, which was 2 days ago. Now, in my opinion, they should have never signed him to such a huge deal at the age of 25 anyway. And, 25 is really the last peak year for NFL running backs. History shows us that you should not sign a running back to that second deal, to a big second deal after the rookie deal. However, I do believe that they should sign Elliott back if they can. Maybe he tests free agency and he gets out there and realizes the money's not all there. And maybe he'll come back and we can sign him a little bit cheaper. I'd love for him to do that. He's still a really good blocker. He's a really good red zone, like inside the end zone and red zone. He's a really good red zone runner, big, strong back. And he's good in short yardage as well. But he's a really good blocker. He blocks. He grades out at about over 70%. So he's a very good blocker. And that's what you have a hard time finding these young running backs are good blockers. So Ezekiel still has a lot of value, just not at that huge deal. What was it, $90 million over 6 years when he was 25? I mean, come on, that was a crazy deal, Dallas. I mean, that was crazy. But I would love to see them get him back, just cheaper. But they did do a good job cutting him. I think it saves $10 million or something in there. I've heard. I'm not good on all these contracts, but I would love to see him sign him back, just a cheaper deal. All right, topic number 2 is Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard. All right, now I do not like seeing Dallas gave him the franchise tag. He's coming off a major injury. He's also past his prime as well. Okay, he is right about that age where Dallas gave Ezekiel Elliott a huge deal as well. The only good thing about Pollard getting that franchise tag is that they're not giving him a multi-year deal. That would be the only worst thing. But the franchise tag is too much for him. He's coming off a major injury. He's a little bit past his prime. Don't give him a big deal. I mean, at least they're just talking 1 year. I think they're stubbing their toe again on this one. They could use that money in a lot of better ways, other than signing him. He had a lot of good stats, but he's coming off a major injury. He's not going to be 100% next year. So they shouldn't do that. Shouldn't do that. I disagree with that deal. Now, next up, we'll talk about Leighton Vander Esch. I do believe the deal the Cowboys gave him is a real good one for the team. Vander Esch has been very productive. He graded out this last season at 73% in overall defensive rating. He ranked out as the 23rd best linebacker in the NFL. So Vander Esch has 2 more good years, I believe, before you see a decline in him. And that's be about the peak position there of the linebackers. He's a little bit past that, but I think he's got 2 more good years in him. And that's what Dallas signed him to. Feels a pretty good deal. He's had some neck injuries. But he played quite a bit this last season. But I think he's got 2 good years left in him, and then you'll start seeing him decline. I think that's a pretty good deal. I do agree with that one. I think that's pretty good. All right, now let's talk about Donovan Wilson. He's a defensive back, plays safety. He had a really good year last year. He led the Cowboys in tackles, which is not great. You don't want your safety leading your defense in tackles. But he had a lot of production. Now, he just completed his 4th year, which a safety, their peak years is year 1 through 4. After that, you start to see a little bit of decline. Now, so I do not think Dallas signing Wilson to a 3-year deal is a good deal for the Cowboys. He's just right out of his prime. Maybe 1 to 2 year deal. I know these guys want multi-year deals where they can, have a contract and have some stability, but, Dallas don't need to sign him to that much. 3-year deal is just too much. He's already getting out of his prime. They should have tried to get him cheaper, less years. When you look at the stats, Malik Hooker and Jaron Curse both graded out better than him, which you need three safeties. You need strong, free, and then somebody to back them up. So he gives them three safeties, but, I just think he's out of his prime. He's getting old, and Hooker and Jaron Curse are too. I think they're out of their prime, and they'll start going down. So I think I don't like the deal. I like Donovan Wilson. I like that they're keeping him, but I think 3 years is a bit too much. I think he's past his prime, and you're getting into that like you did with Ezekiel Elliott again. They're keeping guys too long, in my opinion. All right, last thing I want to hit on here is they need to draft a safety this year. I think, when I look at that safety position, talking about Donovan Wilson and Hooker and Jaron Curse, they're getting old. They're all three of them are in their fifth or sixth year. They're out of that. They're past that first 4 years, getting a little bit out of their peak performance years. And I think it's time for them to find a young safety. In the draft, I think they'll use a draft pick to find a young safety, or maybe trade for one. They traded for Stephon Gilmore. He's 32 years old. He's old. He's a corner. But, I think that was a good decision, like I said earlier. But I think safety is a position they need to look at getting younger. Donovan Wilson's a great player, great production. But, I think they oversigned him a little bit. And I think they've been doing that too much. Did it with Zeke. I think they're doing it with Pollard. I know they want to keep these guys, but you also just, they're getting too much. There's you hit that peak year and you start to decline. And you don't want them when they're declining. You need to get some younger blood in there. Overall, in conclusion, I think overall, Cowboys made some good moves and some not so great moves. I think they made the right decision cutting Elliott. Hopefully they can sign him back at a cheaper deal. That's my hope. But they just couldn't pay him all that money. His production's just not there. And I think signing Van Der Esch, a 2-year deal for him, was right on the money. Good contract. I think that's good. I think he'll have 2 more good years. And then you'll start seeing some decline. Hopefully he can make it 2 years with his neck troubles. But he had really good production this last year. Like I said, he graded out over 70%. Top 28 linebackers in the league, 23, I think. So I like those two things. However, I don't like them giving Pollard the franchise tag. I think that's too much money for him coming off a big injury. I just think they spend that money better elsewhere. Also, Donovan Wilson, I like that they kept him, but I think they gave him too much. 3 years is too much. Maybe 1 year deal, 2 years. But I'm sure they got him cheaper for 3 is what they're thinking, So if they can get out of that 3rd year, be good, kind of like they did with Ezekiel, but then you have dead money on the cap. You just, I don't know. And I think that's a position they need to look at getting younger, need to draft to get younger. So anyway, I think they had some really good deals. Then they had some I didn't think they did that were as good. They could have done better. All right, guys, that's all I got. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to talk with you, to chat, talk about football. Please leave me a comment below. And what do you think? Did they do a good job with Zeke by cutting him? Do you think the contracts for Van Der Esch was that good? Was Donovan Wilson good? Tell me what you think. Love to talk to you. See you guys later. Until the next one, I'll see you then. Go Cowboys.